What's going on, everyone? Back with another analysis video for the Shade. This time we've got Vicious Ferra versus Kitana. So once again, we're going to start the match off by having a bit of a look at the ideal ranges for each of the characters. So let's just get into the fight screen. Alright, so here we are. So they're both at a neutral setting now, and we want to find out what ranges should each character be on the screen, and what are the potential things that could happen when they interact from different parts of the screen. So once again, let's go over to training mode. Alright, so we're in training mode, and we've got Kitana and we've got Ferra. So as with most matchups, Kitana's going to be doing things like this, zoning from full screen, doing her thing. The other things to be careful of are quite a good jump 2, which can be mixed up with a float, good back 3, very good run speed, 4-2 to up 4 string is very useful as well. She's also got a little bit of range on this, which is +2, where you have to respect the mix up of either straight into a string, +2 into a throw, or even +2 into, maybe not so much the overhead, but +2 into some kind of a mix-up, whether that be stagger pressure or a throw or anything else. The other thing to be aware of is float mix-ups as well. If they're just thrown out there in the middle of the match, depending on the setting, you can typically deal with them, but we'll have a look and see what happens during the match. So essentially, again, Kitana's going to be pretty much outside of jump 2 range. Somewhere here, and from this range she can zone, and she can also run in and do her mix-ups. Alright, so on the flip side of this, if we're looking at Ferra, Vicious actually has some options. So again, like the last match, like most matches, Ferra wants to be in this down 3, back 1-2 range, push them to the corner. That's where he's strongest. But he's also got, in this variation, the boss toss. So 2 tools which can actually condition Kitana to be more careful with her zoning. So air fans, depending on how she jumps, are going to avoid both of these. And again, boss toss range is about here. So Kitana has to be careful throwing the fans at this range, because boss toss will eat straight through the fans and she will be punished. From further back, she can be a little bit more crazy about it, because the overhead will whiff. The overhead Ferra will whiff and she'll throw fans, and that's all good. But if you can get into this range, you can start to play a conditioning game with Kitana to make her lay off the zoning. And you're going to be using this and this, and this to try your best to push her to the corner. So unlike other zoning wars between other characters, Kitana's reflect won't actually do anything to the Ferra tosses. So you got a bit of freedom compared to some other characters. Again, this we have access to now, so this could be useful, but we're probably not going to be using it too much, because against Kitana the big rule is don't jump. At all costs don't jump, because that's how you basically lose the match, is if you're jumping. So again, we want to sit at about this range and use our counter zoning to condition Kitana, make her play how we want, and push her to the corner. We also have this, but it's nowhere near as good as the throw in the last variation. So we're sacrificing a better command grab and better up close pressure for a bit more of a balanced game against Kitana. So I think either Vicious or Ruthless could be good, decent at least in this match. Ruthless probably a bit better up close when he gets her into the corner, but Vicious can condition her a bit better in the zoning game. So now let's head back to the match. One more thing actually I do want to mention is the use of a particular string by Kitana, which is the 4-2-2 up 4 string. So you'll tend to see at times Kitana players, they might decide to approach from this range with this. They might do a float into a low fan. So that is actually punishable by Ferra. The easiest way to punish Kitana is to neutral duck the fan and then use 4-3 knee into the boss toss. Depending on the height, you can also do run up, back 1, blah blah blah. But 4-3 I find is the most reliable punish to this. If they go straight into the fan, however, it jails and you get hit by it. So you need to pay attention to when and if they use that string and how they use the fans. So let's just take a quick look at the punish and then we'll head back into the match. Alright, so back to the match. So as I said, Ferra is going to be more or less within the range. He can probably be a little bit further out of the range that he's standing in right now, but the game plan is to uh, limit Kitana's options with her zoning by using your counter zoning and try to edge her towards the corner. And again, most importantly, do not jump. So let's see how the shade goes at the start. So Kitana jumps straight away, whiffs a jump in, and she's basically being jump crazy. So that's some pretty useful information for the shade. You can see that the Kitana likes to jump, so he can start to use that to his advantage. So certain players, if you walk into a certain range, the first thing they want to do is jump. And the best thing to know is how to bait that and then how to deal with it with your character. So we'll see if there's any patterns with Kitana's jumps, and maybe we can come up with some ideas of how to deal with it. So Shade's running in after the knockdown is good. Kitana's near the corner, and we're limiting Kitana's zoning options at this point. Trades air to air. I again wouldn't be jumping, but he got away with it this time. So being a bit impatient when Kitana jumps in, definitely doesn't need to wake up with armor in that instance. Probably could have walked back or just blocked. It's not the scariest thing in the world, especially if the Kitana's offense isn't too good, which again, Shade hasn't developed in this match enough to understand the patterns and behaviors of this Kitana up close. So I'd be, instead of being super edgy about using armor, I'd be more willing to sit back, block, and try to understand what the other player is thinking. So again, jumping, which is not a good idea at all. So he's, instead of sitting in that range that I'm talking about and trying to limit Kitana's options, he's opting to run in at all costs. He really wants to get in. So he's not feeling very comfortable when he has some half-decent tools. Again, the Ferratos trade will actually be a favorable trade for him. So even if he has to eat a fan to get the overhead Ferratos punish, it's still a good option. And again, full screen armor, not worth it, especially at this health. So now he ends the round in the corner with the one less bar than he potentially could have had. So, run up boss toss, not sure what that was about, could have gone into some pressure. So Kitana's had an opportunity basically because of a jump once again. There you go, now he's starting to play his game, but the boss toss, the boss toss throws or pushes back too far, so now he's outside of that range. Kitana's in the corner, this is good. But again, not really doing anything about trying to compete using the boss toss. Granted, the Kitana is jumping around a bit like a maniac, so it may be a bit harder. But if the Shade played a bit more patient, I think he'd be doing a better job at controlling what this Kitana's doing. So it's not always about just getting in and doing what you want to do up close. It's about how you play this kind of range in the stage to force the opponent to do what you want to do, so you can establish that game plan. Just running in isn't always going to work, which we saw in that case. And it ended pretty fast because of it. So careless jumps and a bit of a lack of patience running in is basically what got the Shade killed there. So next time when versing Kitana, I would again sit back at that particular range I was discussing earlier, so which is just about this range. So she is jumping back, so the boss toss and the overhead throw will miss at times. But again, if you can slowly inch yourself forward, neutral duck some fans, try and establish your zoning game, then you start to make the Kitana player have to think a bit more about your approach and how they want to deal with your approach, apart from just running. Because if you get too antsy and waste your meter and use it in bad situations where you can get punished, it's going to end badly. So next time I would take a breather, play a bit more patient, and try and inch your way in, and then play your up close game against Kitana. Alright, so I hope that was helpful. Again, any other comments that anyone wants to add, feel free to let me know, and I'll catch you guys next time.